Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We've got Jexa. This is the PulseChain staking guy, founder of vouch.run. And I've had my eye on this project for a while. It's a way to pool your pulse together and make money by staking your pulse without having to even know anything about computers at all, other than basically how to turn them on. Obviously, everything does have different trade-offs, different risks associated with it, but we're going to interview Jexa and talk about the platform itself. Used to be paying 6% APY, and I see today after the launch of their token, it's now paying 35% APY, which is crazy high. I'm sure that has something to do with the new vouch token, which also just went up in price a lot. So I'll hand it off to you. Let's introduce yourself and what you've built.
Yeah, so Jexa, I've been around the traps for a little while. I'm usually in the basement doing things rather than out on streams like coffee all the time. So I'm happy just to sit in the background. But yeah, for the last probably 18 months, I've been working on Vouch. So a lot of building and prep work in the background. In October last year, we launched the liquid staking side of it, and that's been running for nearly 11 months now, 10, 11 months. Been running quite well, but with modest sort of returns, like you mentioned. But we always had a view that Vouch would roll out in 3 stages. So stage 1 was liquid staking. Stage 2 was the Vouch token, which has just gone live maybe 20 odd days ago. And phase 3 will be sort of more of the governance side of the protocol. So yeah, a little bit of work to do on that yet before we get to phase 3. But yeah, that's sort of it in a nutshell. Happy to dig down into the nitty gritty as we go.
Sure. Well, I mean, I want to appeal to most of the people probably watching have a very surface level understanding. You know, words like liquid staking already throw people off. It's just what it is a platform where you delegate your ability to stake your pulse to some other smart contract platform, which handles it on your behalf, makes it easier so that you can earn these 10, 15, 20% APYs without having to run your own node. For a blockchain network, blockchains are basically run by a series of nodes distributed all over the world. And if you have pretty basic computer skills, you can run one, but it's still a lot of responsibility for certain people when they have to worry about not only the tech skills, but the ability to keep their internet on and connected. And what if they go on vacation and they don't have a backup plan or a backup battery, or they forgot to enable automatic restarting? Just little things that can go wrong. And so a lot of people, especially on Ethereum, Ethereum has proven this concept successful with stuff like Lido. There's so many liquid staking derivatives. So much so that more people are using liquid staking derivatives, LSDs, than they are actually staking solo, which has centralization trade-offs, you could argue. But we've basically got 3 of these protocols that are up and running on PulseChain. Vouch.run, Project Pi is the other one, and
Validator X.
Yeah, Validator X. I was blanking on the name there. And I'm using Validator X currently, and it's been working for a long time, but Vouch has recently piqued my interest because you guys launched a token. I'm assuming the token obviously went up in price a lot lately, and I'm not saying, go buy an ape in. It might be the local top, it might not. I don't know. But I'm assuming this token has something to do with you stake it, you get more yields, you get more percentage of rewards. Am I right? You want to elaborate on the purpose?
Yeah, that's probably very surface sort of level. Yeah, so Vouch, the protocol is obviously the liquid staking part. And so we've developed Vouch, the ecosystem. And that's, I guess you would look at that as an infrastructure play. So some people like meme coins, some people like DeFi stuff. We've got the infrastructure side. So other infrastructure guys are like Internet Money. They're doing wallets and things like that. So you can get their time token. So with Vouch, the way to look at the Vouch token is have a stake in the value that's captured within that ecosystem. So that's the importance of having the Vouch token. So it's additional to the liquid staking platform, but it's not just a token for the sake of having a token. It actually performs a couple of things. A couple of the important things it does is it's able to actually be additive to the system, and you've seen why the yields boosted up because of that. I'm happy to go through all the mechanics of that, but it actually plays an important part to the economics of the ecosystem. And as I mentioned or alluded to in phase 3, it will also not only allow people to capture the value of the ecosystem as it grows, but have a say in the direction and the settings that can be tweaked on the ecosystem. So some of the things where we direct funds and revenue flows through the system, vouch holders will be able to vote on how they would like to see that allocated. So that's the governance side of it. So that will come in phase 3. So we've got to just baby steps. We've got to get through each phase and make sure that we're happy with how that sits before we progress to the next one.
Yep, and I'm seeing very high numbers compared to what there used to be. Right, 6% APY as opposed to now it's 36%. So why has the yield done a 6x?
Yeah, so the way yield comes from liquid staking platforms is PulseChain. So the actual chain itself produces freshly minted Pulse every day, and that's distributed out to all the validators that secure the network. When PulseChain first launched, there was about 20,000 validators, and that meant if you ran a validator, you were getting about 20% APR on it. As we grew and we went from 20,000 validators to 40,000 to now 50,000 validators, the yield per validator dropped down to about, say, 10 to 11% on average. Now that's sort of where Vouch was running at until I sent out a post in our Telegram group and I said, guys, wouldn't it be cool if we could take this to the next level and produce what we call community validators? So a bunch of validators owned by the community that would just indefinitely produce income from the day they're set up. I said, that's cool. That's a really good concept, but we're going to have to crack some eggs to make the omelette. And what I meant by that was we're going to take a cut on the yield that everyone was getting as stakers to be able to get ourselves in a position where we could make the omelette. And that's effectively what Vouch was the other day. That was the omelette getting served for breakfast. So we took a hit on the yield for that part of the process, and now it's paying off because we've been able to really inject some revenue into the system, and it's boosted the yields from what you were saying, like 7%. That was when we were making the omelette. But if we had just went back to normal, be say 10%, now it's currently at 35. It was up to 37 earlier in the day, which is pretty crazy. And that's happy to show you the mechanics of that, but that's primarily driven by the volume that's happened on the Vouch token over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's very high. And typically with APR this high, we know it doesn't last forever, but is this basically, if I stake Pulse in here right now with no Vouch tokens at all, am I going to get that full 36%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And so I guess I'll repeat it back to you. My understanding, it's the initial 6%, the crack in the eggs phase. This was to accumulate enough Pulse to basically reinvest back into validators, to have so many validators that you could kind of dominate with more APY by mining the majority of the blocks.
Partly, yeah. So it also seeded the liquidity for the Vouch launch as well. So, and that's, you're happy to talk about why our chart looks the way it does, because it's really important that everyone has paid their dues to be a holder of Vouch in one way or the other, whether they've realized it directly or indirectly. They've all paid their dues. So everyone's sort of coming at a level footing on the chart, and there hasn't been any sort of crazy spiking candles at the beginning where it goes up 15,000x and then the chart smashes down. It's been a very controlled launch, and everyone's coming at a very sustainable rate in the system. So there was no sort of tokens just given away for free. Everyone's had to commit in some way. So that's sort of why it looks the way it does. Yeah, did I answer your question then? I don't know.
I think so. Let's dig into the Vouch token, because it just went up, I think, 14 or 15x in the past week. And obviously I've got massive FOMO. Everybody does when they see a chart they missed out on. But what is the point of buying this token in layman's terms?
In layman's terms, like I can show you a diagram. It depends how much you want me to go into. I don't know whether you've seen any of my other streams, but I've got a flow diagram that breaks it down.
Yeah, let's pull that up. Why not?
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, it's very hard to talk about without showing it visually. I think people can get a really good picture if we can do the visual representation. So bear with me. I'll just get a screen up. Okay. So just wondering, yeah, so there was a lot of thought and planning that went into the design of the token. It wasn't just create a token for the sake of it. There was probably 3 months just of smashing ideas around and figuring out where we think we could drive the most value into the system with it. Window, let's go with that.
Oh, and just so you know, I am reading the chat, and if anybody does have questions, we'll get to that kind of at the end after we're done covering, because we're probably going to talk about your questions if you have them, but if you still have them in half an hour or so, I'll definitely read the chat. So up here, we've got a diagram.
We've got a diagram. So this is phase one. This is what liquid staking looks like, very simplified. You put your hang on, mate, I've just got something in my way. I've got a shift. There we go. As a user, you're sitting out here with Pulse in your wallet. You deposit your Pulse into the liquid staking platform, and you get given the liquid staking token, which is vPulse. That represents your share of your stake in this whole system. The validators come together, pick up your Pulse, add some of their own, stake it on PulseChain, and as they're doing their day-to-day duties, they get a fresh share of the Pulse that's minted from PulseChain. That comes back here. It's shared between the validators and the stakers. Now, the important thing with liquid staking tokens is you don't, as a holder of the vPulse token, you don't get extra Pulse in your wallet every day. It's not how it works. The value is actually captured in this token. So you can hold this, you might put one token in here and you'll hold one vPulse token, for argument's sake. And then when you come back 6 months later, you can redeem your vPulse, and you won't just get your one Pulse back, you might get 2 Pulse back, because it's been sitting there accumulating all the rewards in this pool here. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Yeah.
So the concept of Pulse and vPulse is similar to every other liquid staking protocol. The receipt token that you get, the vPulse, it gradually goes up and up and up in terms of in Pulse terms, because it's tracking the underlying rewards that the validators, the pooled validators, have been earning this whole time. Whenever you're ready to cash that in, whether it's 6 months or a year from now, you have more Pulse value than when you started. Not USD value, but you have more Pulse, and obviously we all hope that the price of PLS goes up. So what's that other section of the diagram there?
Okay, so that was what we're saying. So if you're just doing that on PulseChain at the moment, you're getting about 10 to 12% yield. So we've launched the vouch token, and the reason why we've done that is it's the value capture token. So it will capture the whole value of the ecosystem, and it's the future governance token of the system as well. So how does it do that? So when we launched the vouch token, we also launched something called the distribution layer. And fancy term, but all it is, it just means it's a big bucket that Pulse goes into, and the distribution layer distributes out to various parts of the ecosystem. So what is actually hitting into the top of the distribution layer is 2 forms of revenue from the system. So we've got our real yield that we're generating from the validators doing their work. And validators get 2 forms of yield. They get rewards just for sitting there doing their day-to-day duties of attesting to all the blocks on the chain, but they also get priority fees. So when me or you as a user, you're using your Rabby wallet or your Internet Money wallet, and you're clicking send or buying something or trading, you're paying gas fees. And those gas fees you're going, if you're the lucky validator that produces that block, you get those priority fees. So what we do with those priority fees from all our validators, they get tipped into the distribution layer. So as the chain gets busier, more Pulse is tipped into this bucket from these validators. So the more validators we have out here, the more revenue we can drive into this bucket. On the token side, now we could have just launched a static token, and that would have been great. It would have achieved the governance side of things, but why would anyone want to hold it if it's not doing anything, or it's not going up in value, or it's not additive to the system? So what we've done is we took the concept where everyone, they'd be very familiar with the fee-based tokens, so tax-based tokens. So we like to call ours a revenue token, not a tax token, because tax is taking away from you, but in this system, it's generating revenue that goes back towards you. So we'll have a chat about how that works. So any revenue from buys, sells, or transfers from the token hits this distribution layer. So you can see when there's a lot of volume on vouch token, like we've had over the last few weeks, it gets tipped into here and everyone gets to be the beneficiary of that. And I'll show you how that works. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the ecosystem. As we get Pulse tipped into this bucket, we can actually put it to work creating more validators. So we call those community validators because they will be owned by the protocol. They will never leave the system. The Pulse that is generated from validating on the chain or revenue fees from the token will get put to use to create more validators. More validators makes more fees makes more validators. So we get a nice loop of freshly minted Pulse from the blockchain that can be used to just keep firing up more and more validators. So that's the long-term goal, is we'll keep building all our community validators. I think we've added probably, I'm saying 150 to 200 over the last 3 weeks just from the volume that's been going through the system. And we want to continue to do that.
That's great. So what percentage of the validator revenue goes to the users versus goes to the distribution layer to recycle back?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So all of the rewards from the validators just from doing their day-to-day work, that all stays in this part of the ecosystem. But the priority fees from producing blocks, that gets dumped into here.
I see.
And the taxes from the token. Yep. So of the total, at the moment, the settings for this, I think it's like 45% of the revenue coming in here. Sorry, my DMs are going mental. 45% of the revenue coming in here is getting used to fire up more and more validators. Just bear with me 1 sec, mate. I'm going to get rid of my DMs. Yep.
No worries.
Yep. So that's one part of it. Let's keep digging in a bit further. We are currently sending, I might have the exact number off by a percent or two. I think it's like 27.2% or something like that of revenue coming into here is going out to the buy and burn currently. And we can burn either vouch or Pulse. At the moment, we're burning vouch and we're burning it at a fast rate of knots. We've burnt about 1.8% of the supply already in the last 3 weeks because of this mechanism. One of the other things people like is we've got the ability to distribute either vouch, vPulse, or Pulse out to various players in the ecosystem. So at the moment, if you're a holder of vouch, we're sending about, I think it's 6.4% of the revenue here goes and buys vouch off the market and sends that out to existing holders. So vouch is not minted anymore. The whole supply was created at the very beginning and it's just deflationary from this point on. So we've got very aggressive buy and burns. So we're buying it up off the market and destroying it. We're also buying it up off the market and giving it back to the users.
Wow. So as a holder, I don't have to do anything. I'll just gradually get a little more vouch day by day.
Yep, exactly.
And I'll be punished if I sell it, but obviously that 5% will go back to everyone else that was holding.
That's right. Stays in the ecosystem. So that's why we call it a revenue token. It's very important what you do with the fees from those tokens. And as long as they stay in the ecosystem and actually get put to do something, they get put to use, so that those fees get put to use, they're actually additive. So it's not just a one and done tax or something like that. It actually gets injected back into something that's doing real work to produce more revenue. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I like it. As far as a tax token goes, revenue token. Sorry, it's not just your typical pump and dump. There's a much greater thing that this is attached to, and it's important to secure the network with validators. It's also important to know that there is smart contract risk, and you are delegating your coins to another platform. So in terms of the safety and security, maybe there's something you could say about audits or testing or what this was forked from to make everyone feel better.
Yeah, so let's look at the first part. So just the liquid staking side of things. So that's from a company called Staffy. So they've been operating liquid staking platforms on Ethereum pretty much since the day you could do that, and they run it on a few other chains as well. So we haven't actually forked their code. We work in a partnership with those guys. We work very closely with them, and we'll do a lot more outreach with their community over the coming months. We've just got our marketing guys are going to be working very closely with theirs, and we want to see if we can engage their community and get them across into the world of PulseChain and show them what we're doing over here. So yeah, we'll be working hard to try and do that. In addition to that being battle tested and being running for a number of years over there, we went and had our own individual audits done on that as well. You can check them out. They're all on our website. You can see all the audits for that. So been up and running for 10 months as the liquid staking component on PulseChain. The vouch token in the distribution layer, that was a lot of work. That was probably 3 months just in the design phase, just sort of conceptually thinking through how it was going to work. And then it's been 8 months of development time, constantly testing. We rolled it out 15 times on the live PulseChain network, making sure that everything was working as it should be. 2 audits. We've done what we can in terms of testing and auditing. Nothing's ever 100%. You know that. We've tried our best to be as solid as we can, but you can never ever say 100%. So we think we got to 99.9, and that was. You've always got to have that little bit in the background where you can never say 100%.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, everything carries extra risk. If you run a validator yourself, solo, the risk is you. The risk is you not understanding how to work things right. And if validators go down or stay offline for an extended period of time, just so people know, they get penalized. And it's a slow bleed. But if you just forget about your validator, you bleed out, 1 or 2% a week for a long time until you have no validator left. So it's up to you to kind of manage that. Is vouch forked from anything existing or borrowed parts of the code?
That's the StackFi stuff. That's the liquid staking thing. So that is just contracts that manage how or where users do their deposits and how it gets sent to PulseChain to actually do the staking. So there's a whole mechanism there that sort of manages that flow in the background, manages how validators exit when they need to, and things like that.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this makes sense to me. Basically, the vouch token, it's 3 components. It feeds back to make more validators, which then add more to the distribution layer and to the rewards. It is the taxes or the whatever. The taxes are used to buy and burn the vouch token, and they're also used to redistribute back to vouch holders. So it's like a triple use case there. Is there anything that I'm missing on this flowchart here?
I guess the thing that isn't easily apparent is it doesn't matter where you sit in the ecosystem, you will benefit from either part of it being successful. If vouch token is successful, then we carve up a part of these fees that go back to this part of the system as well. I think that's currently, it was set to 24%. We've wound that back to 15% because it was just getting crazy yields on there. It would have been up to 50% APRs and stuff on that if we had left it. So we've sort of adjusted that a little bit. But yeah, if vouch token does well, these guys do well. If this is doing well and producing a lot of revenue, then vouch token does well. And we ultimately, everything's going to producing more validators to produce more revenue. So yeah, it sort of all ties in nice and neat. And we think we've got some really good feedback loops going in there that aren't subtractive. So it's not player v player. It doesn't need to be player v player in this system.
Yeah, that's impressive. I like what I see. I'm really hoping for a dip on the vouch token itself. I hate buying something.
Today's the chance.
Yeah, we got a tiny little baby dip right now.
We've got a baby dip there, and we don't see too many of those, or we haven't. But yeah.
I mean, like the FOMO is real, but I think just the staking alone is more than enough. My question is, how many validators do you have? What percentage of the total supply of validators is vouch running?
I think we're probably about 5 or 6%. So we're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so of the, I think there's 52,000 validators. We're running about 4,000.
Okay.
Just to put some perspective around that, on Ethereum, they have 500,000 validators. So if we ever get to that stage, and look, I hope we do. I hope the network is so successful that we have that many people wanting to validate, and that would be an awesome result. Now that comes with its own challenges as well, because what happens is over on Ethereum, they're not getting 10 and 12% native APRs. They're getting 2 to 3%, because there's so many validators. So we're pretty lucky on PulseChain at the moment, where we're here very early. It's a brand new chain, relatively speaking. We get to be the people that form how this chain runs and build some of the cool tech on it, which, yeah, I reckon that's a good position to be in.
Well, congrats on the Vouch launch. Congrats on having a successful up and running protocol for, I think, over a year at this point.
Yeah, not quite a year, yes, about 11 months, but yeah, getting close.
Months.
Yeah.
Yep. So far, so good. Is there anything that people should know before we take questions that is not immediately obvious right now?
Immediately obvious? No. Look, it is what it is. You can see it on the face value. It's there. I'm happy to talk about how we done the launch and things like that. I think we managed that pretty well. Most people are used to seeing 15-minute charts that bleed out. We were very careful in the way we've constructed the tokenomics and the way we've done the launch, and we've got a chart that it looks, when you put it on a shorter time frame, it looks like it's just gone hockey stick. But when you narrow that down a bit, you can see it's just on a nice growth. It's a sharp growth, but it's actually a very consistent growth. It's not like an up and dump and up and dump. It's actually a very consistent chart. And yeah, I think we've got a good group of core holders in at the early level, which is nice to see.
Yeah, one of the questions we're having in chat is about the more advanced strategy of liquidity bonding your vPulse to your regular pulse. And I see there's a liquidity pool, obviously, for that. I urge everybody to go there on Dex Screener, check out the vPulse versus pulse pair, and then switch it to the ratio chart to see exactly how this thing functions. But what can you say about that being an opportunity to make money on transaction fees as well?
Yeah, so this is really good, and we see a lot of people doing this. Is imagine, so one of the safest LP positions you can be in is 2 stable coins, assuming nothing breaks on the peg on a stable coin, because they're pegged together and you collect the fees, but there's no impermanent loss because they should move up together. Now, the good thing about having vPulse and Pulse is you can pair them, and they're tied together. So if one goes up in price, the other in US dollar terms, if one goes up in price US dollar terms, the other one will follow. The only slight difference is vPulse is getting a little bit more valuable than Pulse each day just because it's collecting the yield. But it's not crazy off the charts. Like even if it was 15% over the whole year, if that was in a pool together and you were collecting fees, plus you're getting the benefit of a token that can go up quite high in value, all things going well on a bull run, you get the benefits of like you're holding a stable coin liquidity pair, but with the benefits of upside of something like Pulse going up. So if you want to play that game, that's a pretty neat thing to do. And we see a lot of people doing that.
It's an interesting game, and I know even some yield farms like on emit.farms, they've incentivized that pool to add more liquidity. It's something very common more on Ethereum. Like a lot of people do that because you're effectively selling your vPulse and hoping that the fees that you're making when you're dumping your vPulse back for Pulse on the way up, it also exceeds the rate at which vPulse itself is going up. And it's a fun game to play, but it becomes more effective when there's more volume. So hopefully this stream and other people talking about it, the awareness will hopefully drive more volume, because with more of a thriving trading kind of ecosystem around it, then those LP plays become more profitable.
Yeah, and what we see is so we've set up the main liquidity pool, obviously, when we launch, but then other people go and set up various pools on the Fux platforms and things like that. So then you get all arbitrage opportunities, and bots pick up those. So there's all volume getting generated between all these different inefficiencies in the market. I think we see a lot of that going on PulseChain in general, but it's cool to see that with the liquid staking tokens. And I know there's pools where you can have just all liquid staking tokens in it together, so they're all bound by Pulse's sort of underlying price, but they all sort of will move up roughly together. So there's some cool opportunities there as well.
Jexa is not another wannabe dev. He is the real deal. That's right. Spread the love.
Let me be very clear. I did not write the code for this. I know enough to get myself in trouble with the code. I'm very good at managing teams and getting it all together, but I wouldn't be writing any Solidity contracts.
It is refreshing to see a solid project that's not a scam, that hasn't been rugged within a month. And it supports the ecosystem with validators. It's regular, wholesome, and it's been proven to work. That's the thing I like most about certain projects, is when they have a track record of working on Ethereum. It's like, okay, the concept has been proven, and this is just a tweak on the concept. Like the vouch token is very interesting. I don't think I've seen this token dynamics, tokenomics anywhere on like Rocket Pool or Lido. So interesting take on that. Somebody's got a question. I'm sorry to cut you off, but impressive that over 4,000 validators are supporting the protocol. #1 validators farm on PulseChain. Of those 4,000 validators, how many are team owned versus community owned versus Pulse staker owned?
Oh, you've got me on the hop there. I couldn't tell you the exact numbers. It might be like the community side is probably 230 at this point. Team operated, maybe I'm saying 2,500, and then we've got other guys that have just joined in and are running validators as well. So there's a bit of a spread there.
Cool. I'm sure that'll become more distributed as more people opt into this.
Yeah, it depends. If there's an appetite for people to be validators, then great. We want them coming along. What we find a lot is people, they just don't want to do the validating side, but we want them to be able to participate in the yield that PulseChain offers. So that's pretty much where this fits in, is that's that infrastructure play, whereas you can be a part of that without having to run the hardware. But ultimately, it would be awesome to see everyone running their own validators.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun experiment to kind of run one on your own. I've done it in the past. It is work. I mean, the place I live is known for power outages all the time. So it's like, do I really want to get a backup battery and manage this and remote in when I'm not there and have to SSH and all this crazy stuff? The answer is no.
So you're obviously pretty technical, though.
Yeah, but I'm like you. I know I have enough rope to hang myself with. So
yeah. So that's where I'm very strong on the systems and networking side. So that was my career previously.
Oh, cool.
So that sort of suits me. So I'm pretty comfortable in that space, not so much the programming space.
Absolutely. Well, with AI these days too, it's just, I feel like I've gotten a couple IQ points smarter just on that. It's great, man. And everybody should use AI, but not totally outsource your thinking, obviously.
Yeah. You should be supplementing what you do. Yeah. I'm producing scripts and things that would have taken me, a month to get right. Simple Python scripts that you would have had to be on Stack Overflow for hours. Just pick that up in a couple seconds. It's been a game changer, that's for sure. UFO to go. First of all, welcome. He wants to know any thoughts on minting vouch token NFTs for portability and aftermarket sales without incurring exit fees. For vouch token NFTs, look, I hadn't really thought down that sort of path. I mean, we've got things that we're working on which we think are pretty exciting, but I haven't sort of thought about that.
Maybe he means, because when you create a V3 position on like 9-inch or 9mm, for example, it does create an NFT, and then theoretically you can swap that NFT around tax-free, I believe. Is that true?
Don't know.
Might be.
Any thoughts? So what's your theory? You mint it on as a V3 position and then move it around?
That was my theory, but I think what he's going for is validator NFTs, kind of like David Feeder has done in the past. I know DFED was doing something like that. I wasn't quite sure how they work. I'm assuming it was basically you buy the NFT and you get the yield somehow built into the value of the NFT. I honestly don't know enough about it to sort of go too deep. Yeah. Fair enough. So I guess not yet, but Something to think about.
Yep.
RH Max, good to see you. He says, can you talk about the recent changes to the distributor settings, and does vPulse or vouch holders benefit even more now?
Yeah, so what we noticed was the yield for vPulse holders was just getting out of control. And whilst it's good to have that sort of headline figure, we think we can redirect the fees to be put back into more community validators, because ultimately that's what we want. Is you want to build up that army of validators, because they're your money printers essentially. They're the things that are going to keep turning in multiples of the revenue that comes in. So rather than just put that straight out to the stakers, which is fine, they'll still benefit indirectly anyway, because they'll get more benefit from more community validators popping up. So yeah, we're just trying to find the right balance in the system. And as we go through different phases, so we're in a bit of a growth phase, especially on the vouch token side. So you've got to compensate for that. And as we move into a more mature phase, we'll probably tweak the numbers again and get the flows right in the system so everyone's equally aligned. I think that's the beauty of it. We've got a few switches and dials we can move, and soon the community will be able to vote on all of those, and they can help move the switches and dials. But yeah, that's ultimately where we want to be, is something that's sustainable, and as the market conditions change, we can change with them.
Yeah, I mean, so there's basically 4 functions of vouch tokens. There's recycle for more validators, there's buy and burn the token itself being deflationary, there's route back to users, and the governance, which doesn't exist quite yet. But when it does, yeah, I'll be voting for bigger numbers for sure. For myself, at least.
But it doesn't matter where you put it. Everyone is really aligned in it. The way we've figured it out. It doesn't matter what side it goes on, because so imagine if you're a vouch holder and you say, you know what, screw the guys over there staking their vPulse, I want to burn more vouch. It doesn't matter. It's going to get reflected back in the yields from the token fees anyway, back into the distributor layer and back to the stakers anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Cool.
It's hard to get people excited about governance tokens because a lot of people don't understand what is being governed. But everybody take a look at this chart, and I think this is something we could get excited about.
Yeah. If you've got a financial incentive to vote, you'll get up off your ass and vote.
Yep.
And that's the problem. A lot of times people are voting on things that they don't really care about. Like, they're putting up proposals that don't really matter. This is where everyone will have a say in the economics of the system.
Sounds great. The Twin Father says, will Vouch always be adding community validators as long as it can? I feel like the answer is yes.
Yep. It's perpetual. And we've got to do something with the revenue coming in. So we'll just keep adding validators. Yep.
Yeah, man. Somebody says you're the new RH. Congratulations.
I wouldn't go that far.
Congrats. You did it.
Long way to go.
Where does the DAO treasury fit into the future?
Well, I guess once it's in the hands of the DAO, then it's up to the DAO to decide where things go. But at the moment, it's used for marketing and things like that and building liquidity. So I assume that would be its future role, probably just a little bit more decentralized in the way it's governed.
Very good. Duke of Booze, welcome. He wants to know, how often a month will vouch holders see rewards?
Daily, hourly, pretty much as soon as it. Yeah, so all the contracts are automated. As soon if there's buy and sells on the vouch token, or there's other things going on in the system, it automatically triggers all the mechanisms that distribute the vouch out to people. If there's a few triggers in place, so just to conserve gas and things like that in the contracts, it doesn't just blast them out to everyone. It does it in stages. And if you want to trigger yours sooner, you can send yourself a $0 vouch transaction, and it will distribute your rewards straight away. So you can go see your rewards, and if you want to trigger that distribution, you just send yourself a transaction.
Yeah, sounds like not monthly. It's instantaneously.
Yeah, it's constantly accruing, and when it reaches that threshold to send it out to you, it will. But if you want to call it early, you can.
Cool. He also wants to know, when collecting the 5%, is the vouch changed to PLS at this point before entering the distribution layer?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we have to do it that way. There's just the way the tax tokens work. That's the only way we can really do it easily. And it sort of makes sense to have everything put into Pulse, then we can carve it up into the various buckets and distribute it back out.
And the buy and burn pressure would theoretically offset that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And everything we like, all the revenue coming in from the validators, that's all fresh, that's going to buy and burns and stuff as well. So it's all, that's all price positive.
Where can we use our VPLS? Well, I mentioned one protocol, emit.farm. Do you have any other protocols in mind? Yeah,
so it's funny. There's a lot of people that are actually building things for vPulse that you wouldn't have even heard of yet. And some of them, and I can't even remember, one came across the Telegram the other day, and it's like a leverage sort of platform. I didn't have the chance to sort of spend too much time on it, but people are actually out there building things. The Emit guys have been really good with the farms. Tufux, very supportive. And like I hear of things that are happening behind the scenes as well, which I don't really talk about until they're delivered. There's no point talking about things unless they're being shipped, because a lot of the times they never get there.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things already that you can do with it. You can vPulse is like any other PRC20 token. If you want to go do your degenerate stuff you do with all the others, you can do it with vPulse.
Right. Yeah, I only know of that yield farm, but it's good probably not to talk about things until they actually exist. Crypto's built on false promises a lot of times.
That's right.
Is there an infrastructure facility? Obviously not doxing it, but is there one?
We don't have a personal one, but we rely on other infrastructures that you would probably be familiar with.
Yeah, some 3-letter.
No, we don't actually. We don't. Yeah.
Oh,
different ones, but yeah, not them. Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's probably saying too much, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's not DigitalOcean, but yeah, think along those lines. Yeah.
Okay, a VPS. BK Handon asks, is there a target count for validators? Will there be a time you might pull block number of validators being created? 500K?
Yeah, so it comes down to economic sense, and this is why Bitcoin's economics work. It's why you won't ever end up with a million validators in Ethereum, because it'll get to a point where if you put your capital to work there, it's not efficient enough, so people won't do it. So just the general economics will determine how many validators will there ever be. Like if you're only getting 0.5%, well, you could probably go put your money elsewhere and be more capital efficient. So things have a way of sort of working out like that. And what's happened recently on ETH with the Pectra update is, so on ETH it used to be 32 ETH per validator. They've just changed that now, and I think you can go as low as 1 and as high as 2,000 per validator. So they've sort of geared that up for larger entities to be able to come in and play in that space without having to run a buttload of validators. So they can sort of have more of a stake, but in a more condensed validator number. So maybe we might see something like that eventually on PulseChain if a few of the updates come across.
Yeah, that was an interesting EIP, and now it basically makes management easier so that you don't have to manage and worry about sets of 32. You could just do one set of 320, for example.
Yep.
It is interesting, like the Ethereum yield is about 4% APY, and it gets lower as more people are dividing up the rewards amongst themselves and joining the system. Like you said, when there's a real world play, like I'm kind of wondering if the 4% is due to maybe treasury yields, and maybe that's the baseline where if you go much lower than 4%, well, people can make more money just with treasuries or typical real world stuff.
I guess it's the little X factor though with ETH is it's got that capital growth potential as well though. So your 4% could turn into 400%. Like if it goes up.
Yeah, right.
So that's where I guess they can get away with having a smaller headline number, because you think the value of the ETH is going to go up.
Yeah, and hey, maybe one day I hope and I dream that PulseChain becomes so successul that we have lower yields as well.
Yeah.
But right now, you can get the yield while the getting is good.
So here's something else that you don't take into account. For you to be the validator that produces a block on Ethereum when there's 500,000 validators, that's pretty slim odds. So you're not producing a great deal of blocks. We're very fortunate on PulseChain. If you're running validators at the moment, I think we'll probably produce one in every 10 blocks or something like that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, if there's 50,000, there's well over, there's probably more than 50,000 validators, blocks minted per week, right?
I don't know the exact. I could tell you what it is, because it's obviously we know how many blocks are per 10 seconds, so I'm sure you could figure it out if you're got a mass pro. I'm not going to try that on stream.
Yeah, whip out your calculators, everybody. Yeah, it's only 10x away. It's kind of remarkable that PulseChain has 1/10 of the validators that Ethereum has. I mean, when you factor in the success of Ethereum and the age of PulseChain versus Ethereum, it's doing pretty well compared to most other layer one in terms of participation.
I think it's doing much better than what most people think. Like everyone's, and I had a chat when I was on RH Max's stream. I done a video about price versus value, and we're all sitting there worried about the price and what's going on, but we're not building in how much value has actually been created over the last 2 or 3 years. And there's so much value that's being built into PulseChain that it isn't reflected currently in the price. And when it does, it's going to be nice to see. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, I've been building in the background, and the support I've got from other teams and other people doing things is just phenomenal, man. Like, you don't understand what sort of a community we've got. Like guys that stepped up and done things where didn't want to get paid, just wanted to help. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Something has got to break. There's a huge divergence in terms of the price versus the network itself, and everything that's built, all the marketing, all the organic participants, all the treasury sacrificed ETH. I mean, it's just it's asymmetric, and a lot of people don't see it coming if all they see is Richard Hart on the run or something, and they don't actually dive in. And just wait until that Interpol thing gets cleared up. I'm very bullish on the future, and just
I don't even think that's going to matter, man.
It doesn't really. It doesn't matter right now. But I just think that's the only thing stopping him from coming back, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't seem to be too shy at the moment. He's not on stream, but yeah, he's definitely a lot more presence on Twitter and things like that.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he hasn't really gone anywhere.
No.
But yeah, for people that need a little bit more than a tweet, it would be some gasoline on the fire.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That will get everyone excited.
Yeah, a real-time vouch network page with bells and whistles would be cool. I think that the website itself has good data, right?
Yeah, we've got a dashboard, and that displays most things. We'll probably add a little bit more to that as we move forward. If there's something burning that you really want to see there, by all means, reach out and let us know. We think we wanted to get just a nice dashboard up so people knew what was going on with all the different mechanics that you can see on the screen there. You've got to make those front and center for people to understand
I've got that page pulled up right now, and I urge everybody to go to vouch.run. The link is in the description below. Just check it out. Click on the Stake Your Pulse button, and then click on the dashboard button in the top header.
You can go straight to the dashboard from vouch.run as well. There's a button there. Yep. So you don't have to go into the DApp if you don't want to do anything like that. You can get straight onto the dashboard. But yeah, check it out, lads. There's a lot of interesting things, and as you dig it a little bit deeper, you'll see some of the beauty in the system, I think.
100 billion total supply of vPulse. That means 100 billion coins have gone into validators.
127 billion is staked currently.
Oh, that's right, because it's
because there's a token ratio. Yeah. Yep.
Some good looking
So,
numbers.
some good looking numbers. Yeah, no, it's been, I've really blessed. Like, it's been nice to, the amount of well wishes and support I've seen from everyone has been really nice. So makes it all worthwhile when you've been stuck in the dungeon for a year.
Yeah. Feels like we all are. We need Arch back. Yeah. Too many mice playing while the cat is away. LOL. Funny.
That's spicy.
Well, hey, look, thanks to all 1,000 viewers. And it looks like we're wrapped up with questions. So is there anything that you wanted to cover that we haven't?
No, I mean, I've done a number of different videos as well. So if you want more info, you can do a bit of a search or go to our X. So yeah, go follow us on X. That would be helpful if you want to do that. If you want to find all the links to our socials, go to vouch.run. From that page there, you can link out to any corner of our ecosystem, find all our socials, Telegram, pretty much all the documentation. We think we've been pretty thorough in making sure everything's available for everyone to find out how we work and what we're doing. But if you've got any questions, by all means, jump in the Telegram, and there's a group of enthusiastic people in there that will help you for sure.
Yeah, I might have to go move some money around myself right now. I took a look at that 30% number today, and
it's pretty decent.
Yeah. So everybody, go follow Jexa on Twitter. That's JEXXA. Go follow vouch.run on X. Get in the Telegram. Ask more questions if you want to. And the link vouch.run is in the description below. So all the links are there. Thanks for coming, everybody. We will see you on the next one.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.